Okay. Why was there tin on the wall?
Well, we found out that the family that rented had goats in the house, and they put the tin on so the goats wouldn't eat the wallpaper.
Wow.
Yes, yes. And in that room was a big, I guess they call it a clothes press. It, a lot of clothes and everything. And I know that when we were down there and Grossmom and Grosspop wanted to talk, they would go in there and talk German. So nobody knew anything. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but my mother, Grandma, did not speak any English until she went to first grade.
I didn't know that.
She spoke just German all the time.
Oh.
So she had a new language to learn. And Grandma's pretty smart. She did not graduate from grade school, so darn smart. And I think I told you that they went to the city. Oh, Saturday night was the big night, you know. You went to confession, and then they went to the bars. You did your grocery shopping and everything else. And Grandma was with Grandpa when they were down there, and Grandma wanted to go home. And Grandpa said, if you want to go home, get in the car and go home. She got in the car and went home. And she had to go back and get him. So she drove after that. You know, I don't know how old she was, but, she drove.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How big was the farm? How many acres do you remember?
Oh, geez, no. It was a big farm, and Grandpa owned several.
Several farms, or
several farms? Yes. It was large territory. Uncle Johnny rode a horse and wagon from one of the farms. He had a farm in Russellville and Red Oak, I think it was, and a couple of other ones. And I know he had a house that he rented up the road. But Uncle Johnny drove a horse and hay wagon back from one of these farms. It took at night. It took forever for him to get home. Yeah. That was when Uncle Al had the farm. You know, Uncle Johnny was down there in 43 when I was down there. So, yeah, I am so glad that I have had that experience of knowing what, if you can imagine what Grandma did, because she was born in 1899, and all the stuff that she saw in her years. Yeah. And I just can't believe everything that, I saw. Now, when the license came out, you had to have a license. She didn't have to. She was grandfathered in. But Grandpa never drove. I mean, I remember, I was a kid when Grandpa got his license. So
your father?
My father, yeah.
Never drove.
Never drove.
Grandma
drove. Grandpa took the traction. When he worked in Xenia, he took the traction over to Xenia, and everything. That was the way it went.
What's the traction?
It is like a streetcar, similar to a streetcar. It's a little bit faster and a little bit different type thing. But yeah. Oh, and I drove. When I was in high school and I worked downtown, I rode the streetcar. Not the bus, the streetcar.
And was that in Dayton?
That was in Dayton,
okay.
Yeah, because I went to Wilbur Wright, and that's no more. And I worked downtown. Yeah, rode in the middle of the street,
Because they still have the streetcar rails.
Tracks. The tracks. No, I don't think so. I think they've done.
Are they all done?
I think so. Yeah. They talk about bringing some of that stuff back, but I don't know if they ever will or not. And everything used to be downtown. You never had any of these side things or
right.
The malls or anything. Everything went downtown. So yeah, it's. I'm glad that I lived and we managed. Kids. Kids nowadays get married at 2 and 3 in afternoon. We got married, I think it was 9 o'clock, and there was a wedding before ours.
9 o'clock in the morning?
9 o'clock.
You and Dad got married at 9 o'clock in the morning?
9 o'clock in the morning, and there was a wedding before ours.
How long did well, you didn't have a mass then. You just
had... Oh, yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a mass. Father Gabriel married us.
Okay.
You know, so that was I remember when Father Gabriel was ordained. I was his quote-unquote bride, and it's got to be a German tradition, because really I can't find anything about it. And I know I carried a pillow with a wreath, and I had 2 flower girls, and of course the nuns were supposed to tell me, you know, I processed up with all the priests and everything, and the nuns were supposed to tell me when I was supposed to go to communion, and they didn't tell me, and the family goes up, and everybody goes up. I'm only 9 years old. And then finally I go up, and of course my shoes are slick, and I sort of slide. And Father Gabriel told me later, I wondered where my bride was. But then he took me wherever he went to visit when he was in Ripley.
So you were his bride during his ordination?
During his first Mass.
During his first Mass.
Yeah, because he was ordained in Alabama.
Okay.
And his first Mass, well, it's not really his first Mass, but it was his first home Mass. They said Mass while they were still down at the seminary.
Okay.
Yes, and he was a Benedictine, so he was an ordered priest.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was very nice. And he never wore shoes. He wore sandals. And a lot of times no socks, you know, but yeah, that was it. So, yeah, a lot of happy memories, you know, with everything. So
great.
Yes.